In der heutigen Folge diskutieren Clay und Michael über Kraftwerk. In der heutigen Folge diskutieren Clay und Michael über Kraftwerk.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for I Got a Song, the average podcast about exceptional music. This is episode 57, episodio 57, or Folge 57. Michael Long, welcome to the show.
Whoa, did you just drop some German?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, jawohl. Well, is it so you've done this thing before where you've dropped a different language and the song has been, reference to said language. So I'm very curious. A few things are popping in my mind already. To answer your question, I'm doing fair to Midland, as they say here in Texas.
Yes, sir. We do say that fair to Midland.
Fair to Midland. But I am way excited to do a show.
Oh man, me too. It's been a little while.
I've missed it. It's been a while.
Me too. So much.
And we've had injury and ailment and all kinds of scheduling problems, and then I believe there's been at least one day where we were like, hey, let's do a show. And then the day of, like, dude, let's just play a game.
Let's just play video games.
Let's just play video games.
Let's play Worms and just blow each other up.
Yeah. And so,
but that's okay. We're our own bosses. This is a hobby.
That's right.
It doesn't make any money. In fact, it loses a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
This is because I keep buying my own merch.
We're buying our own merch. We're buying our own supply. But you know what? I am proud of our merch, to be honest.
Yeah.
And speaking of merch, I know no one can see it, but Clay is enjoying a fine coffee out of one of our merch items, the coffee mug. I Got a Song coffee mug, which I have one. You have one. You bought a second one, but then you're sending it to someone else, right?
Yeah, I've got. I ordered one of each, and I got I gave away one of them, and this other one I'm going to give away as well.
Well, since we're talking about the merch store, Clay, you want to drop the address, the internet address for the merch store while we're talking about it?
Yeah, if you want to support us and get some nice merch with our logo on it, you can go to igotasong.swapmeet.bigcartel.com. That's where you go.
Yeah, and they ship fast. They make your items to order. So when you order it, they don't stock it. They make it, correct?
Yeah. I was just thinking we could give a little. I think there's a way to give like a little promo code or something. So like the first person to go to that website and enter in a promo code could get potentially a discount. You want to do something like that?
Oh man, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we'll announce that on the next show.
Okay, yeah. Coming attractions. Be ready for some discounted merch. And I gotta say, man, I think you feel the same way. The mugs, the coffee mugs, at least. That's the only merch I have is the coffee mug. It is a dang nice coffee mug.
Yeah, I like the white one better than the black one, to be honest. I think the colors are a little more vivid on the white one.
Yeah.
It has a nice blue inside it, and then a blue on the handle, and then the rest is white, and then you've got, But anyway, go check it out.
Our tagline. Yeah, please check it out.
Let's see here. You can find us on the usual socials, on Instagram, I Got a Song Podcast. We've given up on X. YouTube at I Got a Song Podcast. Same thing. And it's just audio only. So, and there's no plans to change the format in the foreseeable future at all.
Although Clay is one handsome specimen of man, nobody wants to see Michael Long sitting in a closet with a 4-day growth of beard or in his raggedy T-shirt. So
Yeah, y'all aren't missing
that's to
anything.
remain. That's
That's
going to remain an audio only platform. However, if that's how you like to consume your podcast, please, please, please give us a listen on YouTube. Also, just the usual podcast platforms. Up to, but not limited to, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. There's a few other
yeah.
platforms
Good
we drop on.
Pods, I
So
think, isn't one of them.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
we cannot forget, let's not forget our Google phone number
Yes, where you
that
can
you
leave a
can
voicemail or text us.
call or text. Correct. And we both get notifications for those when something comes through. So give us a call. What's that number again, Clay?
That number is 323-903-SONG or 323-903-7664.
And something we haven't really mentioned a whole lot on the show that you can interact with us, at least through Spotify. You can leave comments on episodes.
Yeah,
We
some
have a
have.
few comments. We have a few comments here and there on episodes from different people, and man, I get really excited when I see a new comment on an episode,
Yeah, me
and it
too.
could be. Yeah, it's real easy. Just leave a comment and say, "Hey, this was a cool episode," or "I've got a question about this," or anything like that. And as soon as we see it, we will respond. I guarantee.
Yeah, did you see that
So
one the other day? Somebody from Brazil or something said they were listening to us, and they're native like Portuguese speaker, but they're listening to us trying to pick up on some English.
I saw that, and that is really cool. And
I don't know that we're the
you know,
best example, but
no, but it's still a neat thing to see that we are part of someone's journey, whether it's learning English or discovering music
yeah. Oh man,
or whatever it is. It's just a real neat thing to see and learn
that's such a
about.
great point to reiterate. We've gotten away from mentioning the purpose of this. Really, is to share the gift of music. You know, with
Absolutely.
anybody who will listen and tolerate us.
That's right, and just the fact that our tastes are so varied, and we hit the big hit songs, we hit stuff that you would have never thought about or known about otherwise, and everything in between. So, and in fact, today, I know with my song, it's going to be another like, whoa, really sort of song. So, and Clay, you've been hyping up your next two episodes for like 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah,
So I'm really
this
I'm really
one
excited to see what you bring.
this one's been decided a long time ago. My next one's been decided a long time ago. And then I just recently, like a couple days ago, landed on what I believe is going to be my episode 61, I believe.
My goodness.
Yeah, the songs are coming. I've had some time over the past like couple of weeks. I've been at home away from work because I had a work injury, and so all I've been able to do is just kind of piddle around the house and then go to physical therapy and stuff. And you know, hopefully I'm going to get back to my regular work here pretty soon. But I've had the opportunity to listen to a lot of music and play a lot of video games. So
Hey, and you know
it's
what?
been great,
That
kind of.
breeds
But I want to go back to work.
creativity and things like that. No, I hear you. I hear you on that. For a while, I'll kind of say this, and I know you're ready to get going on your episode, but for a while, I didn't really have a song, and I was thinking, maybe I need to dust off the Mikey's '90s potpourri that we did a number of episodes back. But then I had a string
Yeah,
of
the grab
songs
bag where we got an 80s
jump
song.
back out at me. Yeah. So I'm going to put that on the back burner because I did have a few songs kind of jump out at me, especially one very recently that's going to be my next episode. So yeah,
Cool.
absence breeds creativity and longing, and so I'm ready with a couple episodes myself.
Sweet. Well, let's hop into today's episode if you don't mind. I want to start off with a little question.
Please.
Do you like computers?
Of course I do.
You do?
Of course I do, yes.
Do you love them?
I mean, they're very useful. I use them for a number of different things. I do love what they provide for me. Can I live without them? Of course, but
Ooh.
I don't want to. Does that answer your question?
That answers my question. Thanks for joining us. Now let me
Okay, it's been a great episode, and we'll see you next time.
I'm going to send the song to you, Mikey. This is the way we do it,
Okay.
guys. If you've never joined us before, Michael and I share songs with each other. We take turns hosting the show. He doesn't know what song is coming. You know what song it's going to be because you've read the title of the episode. And so I'm about to send the song to Michael, and he's about to find out what's up.
Man, I can't wait. And it's I think episode 1, while you're sending it, I'm just kind of reminiscing here. Episode 1 is the only episode between Clay and I that we knew ahead of time the song. And it was starting with episode 2 that we were like, hey, why don't I just send this to you? You know, I'm not going to tell you, but then I'm going to send it to you while you're on the air. And really, we kind of came across our format by accident, and it's worked so well since then. Oh, I just got a text.
All right. So have you received that song yet?
Yeah, it just came in, and oh my goodness, how did I not see this coming? You were dropping hints on this a while back.
Really?
What we have, yeah, dude. There was a day where you sent like 4 songs by this artist.
Well, what do we got?
We have. Oh, hang on a second. I hit the link. Sorry. We have "Computer Love" by Kraftwerk. Nice.
Yeah, Michael.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's time to talk about Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk.
I've listened to the pronunciation a few times, and the R's are kind of soft, so it's like Kraftwerk. Yeah, Kraftwerk.
Yeah,
but
that's
for the sake of us, we're just going to say Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk.
Now I might say Kraftwerk every now and then, just to prove that I can.
Because I like hearing your German accent. So please continue.
Well, danke. All right, so.
Bitte.
I no. What did you say there? I didn't.
You said danke, which is thank you, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
I said bitte, which is kind of like you're welcome.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Bitte, bitte.
Bitte. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, Mikey. Let's listen to the song, okay?
Please.
Like we always do about this time. All right, we were going to go listen to "Computer Love" by Kraftwerk, and we will be right back.
Yeah. Still recording.
the 1981 album Computer World. That was Computer Love by Kraftwerk. Michael Long?
Dramatic pause.
Well, man, I was just so moved. I love the song so much. I just lost it for a minute. How you doing? How do you feel about that?
Man, it has been a long time since I've heard that. I have heard that before. So good. It's like you kind of said towards the end of it, you're like, oh, it's over. And I was like, kind of the same. I mean, you kind of hit a vibe in there, and you're just like,
yeah, you can get lost in it, and we totally did many times. It's 7 minutes. It's over 7 minutes. It's a
great song. It's a great song, and I feel like it's probably been sampled by other artists. I'm sure we'll probably get to that later, but it's a seemingly very well-known melody.
Yep.
And probably found in some other songs since then. I didn't realize it went all the way back to 1981. That's impressive.
Yeah, 1981. Did it sound more modern or older than that?
I wouldn't say much older than that. I kind of feel like it's probably pretty well centered. Although you could make the case that if you didn't know it was 1981, you could have said it could have been made in the last few years too.
Yeah, sure could have, because a lot of people, a lot of artists have and do cite Kraftwerk as a major influence for all kind of artists, but predominantly electronic music, which is this is what these guys are.
Their music is sort of a techno pop.
Yeah, and I was going to say, my mind started kind of going to that. And anybody who knows me, as far as my musical taste, I absolutely love electronic music, but my mind goes to a dance-oriented, like a heavily produced techno dance music type of electronic music. I love all kinds of electronic music, including this. But when I think electronic or electronica, it tends to be like a very beat heavy.
It's more clubby or
more of a I don't do clubs. I don't go to clubs,
right.
But the club music scene, like the music itself, I love like EDM, electronic dance music. But this is like electronic music in the sense that it was composed entirely electronically within a computer, and I assume, right?
Well, in 1981, they were not really using computers to make music like we do now. They were,
right.
Eventually, yes, eventually, yes. And, in Kraftwerk Live, it's four gentlemen standing in a row with laptops in front of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the current. They and keyboards, but I believe I haven't seen them live.
Was this composed more like keyboard synthesizer?
Yeah, this would have been for in 1981, and these guys were making their own instruments early on, and had their own studio. I'm going to get into it. I'll tell you. Let me just from abroad. Let me back it up and tell you just a little bit about Kraftwerk. So they kind of started in 1970 in Dusseldorf, Germany. Oh, by the way, Kraftwerk in German means power plant.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I did not know. I learned that. Anyway, so it was started by Ralf Hutter and Florian Schneider. And these two guys are the main masterminds of the entire group. They started in 1970, and they're still going today.
Wow.
At least Ralf Hutter is. Florian Schneider left in 2008. But those two guys were doing it from the very beginning, making this thing. And their first couple of albums, Kraftwerk 1 and 2 and 3, are a lot more, they're not quite as, okay, let me back up. They are electronic, but there's a few more traditional instruments in there. Like there's like real flute, analog flute that one of the guys plays, and there's actually a little bit of guitar, and there's like a little bit of live drums, and I haven't listened to much of it, to be honest, but from what I understand, it wasn't until like their fourth album or so where they became full blown electronic.
Very interesting. Okay. They kind of had to figure some things out over a couple of albums before they really settled on the full electronic format, huh?
Yeah, and the turning point was the 1973 album Autobahn.
Oh.
And I'll put a little.
I didn't realize that went all the way back to 73. I know that album because I can picture the album cover in my brain. But
really,
yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's got fun on the Autobahn.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah, so Autobahn, that Autobahn actually charted, and that's where they started to kind of take off. But what else can I say about these guys? So they also play, all these synths and keyboards. A lot of these devices they created themselves because they wanted to just explore and everything. And these guys are more they describe themselves. I'm going to be all over the place, I'm sorry, but Kraftwerk is quoted. This is an interesting quote. This kind of describes them and their philosophy behind their music and their art and their work. And I think they all kind of put those three all together. And they, one of them was, I guess it was Rolf Hutter was quoted as saying, "We are not artists nor musicians. We are workers."
Interesting.
Yeah. And so whenever they're in their studio, which they created, they built a recording studio that they could do all their operations, to do all their work out of, called Kling Klang or Kling Klang, which is actually the English onomatopoeia equivalent of ding dong.
Nice.
Yeah. Ding dong in German is Kling Klang, apparently. And so Kling Klang Studios. And that also became Kling Klang Records also. They end up making their own record label and just doing all their own stuff.
That's mad respect.
And it was very
mad respect. No matter the genre, anybody who just takes complete creative control over their music, it just gets a thumbs up for me. Even if it's like an artist or a genre that I do not care for, anybody that can just, there's artists that just get handed a song that was written by someone else, and literally all you do is put your voice to it. And you probably polish it up in the studio and someone else produces it and you throw it out there and it makes that particular artist millions. And it's just like, what exactly did you do other than half-heartedly sing on top of this track, But an artist that can just do it all themselves. And then with these guys, like creating their own instruments to get the sounds that they wanted. I mean, that's incredible to me.
Yeah. Does that sound familiar? Like I know Aphex Twin does stuff like that.
Yes. Yes, Aphex Twin, another just ridiculously talented electronic music guy.
Yeah, we love him. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think in 2024 I listened to more Aphex Twin than any other artist on Spotify. I think he was
which blows my mind because like you would occasionally share some Aphex Twin, but like you shared your Wrapped and you were in like the top 1% of Aphex Twin listeners, probably more so than 1%. And and it's like, God, because you shared so much other music and we talked about so much other music. It's like, how much Aphex Twin did you consume?
I was surprised.
and when. It's just that
I would
blew
listen
my
to a
mind,
lot of
but yeah.
Aphex Twin Select and Ambient Works when going to sleep.
That's got to be it.
Yeah, I would probably hit play on that, and it'd probably play 3 or 4 songs, and I'd be out halfway through the first one probably. So, Computer World, or is the name of the album. Computer Love is the song.
Yes.
Look at the lyrics real quick. Now, this is 1981, and you notice the album cover is a computer, like a desktop computer.
Like an old one, yes.
Yeah. But those weren't really available in homes yet in 1981, I don't believe. And so this is kind of maybe like a prophetic kind of omen or something for the time.
Almost
maybe
like
not.
They're predicting that computers would just kind of take over the world. And
that's right. That's what Computer World was kind of about. And I would say they were pretty close to the mark.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I mean, the world is just kind of run by computers now, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In it. Yeah. I mean, pretty much. There's so much of our lives that are contained in or tied to electronic devices. I mean, we're recording over electronic devices at the moment, and I mean, I'm grateful for the technological revolutions that we've had. As long as they don't, rise up and revolt against us, which could very well come. But
yeah. I mean, that's
the day that Terminator 2, the Terminator movies go from action movie fantasy to documentary. That'll be the day.
Oh yeah, that yeah, those things have already happened.
Oh man.
Yes, sir. So oh boy. The lyrics. Let's look at that just a little bit. Computer love, computer love, computer love. Okay. Another lonely night. Stare at the TV screen. I don't know what to do. I need a rendezvous. Wow. A lonely night. Stare at the TV screen.
That's kind of bleak.
I don't know what to do. Yeah, it does. It is. And I stare at the TV screen. I don't know what to do. Yeah,
dude, so
kind of bleak.
That is and prophetic, like you said, because I mean, people sit around and stare at their phones now.
And,
and the term is called
I'm
doom
chief.
scroll.
I'm chief among them.
Same. We all fall to it. I think a term could be called. I've seen it called doom scrolling, where you're stuck in this loop of, like for me, it's Reddit. For others, it's Instagram or Facebook or whatever. You're just scrolling, and you get stuck in this loop, and you at some point you have to be like, I'm putting this thing down and I'm standing up and I'm going to go outside and touch grass and interact with people and breathe oxygen. And, you have to break your own cycle. And man, that's really interesting. Those lyrics from 1981, where they're kind of hinting at what we have become as a society tied to our devices.
Now, if you think that's prophetic, listen to verse 2. Okay. Oh, no. verse 2. I call this number for a data date. I don't know what to do. I need a rendezvous. That's like internet dating.
Yeah.
A data date.
It could be as simple as
just computer love.
Like, somebody who's just sitting at home interacting with people online, but they don't have the social skills to talk to a normal human, like in a social setting. You can be this rock star
Right.
online that's like witty and well liked and all that, and then you're just like this kind of a nobody in a social setting, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, I met my wife online, you know,
and that's great.
and that's like the majority now, you know.
Yeah,
that's
it
like
happens so much now.
the biggest way that people meet now, you know. It's pretty weird, man. It's it's kind of weirdly prophetic, I suppose.
It is. Had you considered how prophetic this was before we had like sitting here talking about it? Is that kind of one of your points that you were trying to make, or did it just kind of hit you as we're discussing it?
Well, no, it didn't hit me like just now, but I did think about it when I started researching the song a little bit and listening to I've done this before, but I'll shout out Discord and Rhyme podcast once again. They do such a good job, and they do this entire album Computer World as an episode, and I've listened to it a couple of times, and they're good. They're really good. And so yeah, they kind of they touched on this a little bit, how, you know,
I have to check that out.
You
see kind of their thoughts on some of that. I keep saying I'm going to check out Discord and Rhyme, and guys, if anyone from that show ever even listens to any of our stuff, I promise I will get to it. But
I might could get one of them to come on as a guest or something. They're pretty cool people, and I've heard them make Star Trek Next Generation jokes and references before. Even in this episode, they did, and so I know we would have lots to talk about.
Absolutely.
Well, let's see. What else can I say? Oh, did you know that Kraftwerk was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2021?
I thought I remember hearing that.
In early influence category. I don't know what that early influence category. I mean, they're not rock and roll.
No, but the Rock Hall of Fame has been really good about including non-traditional, like not traditionally rock acts. I mean, you know, NWA is in there.
Why don't they just call it the Music Hall of Fame?
Well, because I've even seen it said, I think it was when NWA went in, and maybe it was Ice Cube when he went up there to accept the award. He was like, rock and roll is not a genre, it's an attitude. And that's part of the reason why someone like, you know, a group like NWA would be in there, that sort of thing. You know, it's the most widely recognized Hall of Fame when it comes to music. But you've got, you know, everyone from Johnny Cash to NWA to Kraftwerk to, you know, all your traditional rock acts. And I like it. I applaud the fact that they have not rock music in there, because it just kind of shows how wide ranging musical tastes are. They're not going to put, like, you know, George Strait's not going to go in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or that sort of thing. But I just like how diverse the inductees are.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they're in there. I mean, they were absolutely influential on, you know, hundreds of different artists and everything. You know, so yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they don't deserve to be in there. I'm just saying they're not rock and roll. But, you know, from what you said, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that's not rock and roll. So we're just going to deal with that.
Oh yeah, deal with it, Clay.
I'm dealing with it. It's just fine.
I have dealt with it. What else you got?
One thing. Let me see here. I'm looking at my notes. Kraftwerk. They have been described, or they may describe themselves. There's a German word here. I'm going to try to say it here. It's Gesamtkunstwerk.
Gesamtkunstwerk.
Hang on.
Gesamtkunstwerk.
Gesamtkunstwerk.
You should have done a Duolingo German episode lesson prior to this episode.
Gesamtkunstwerk.
I spent so much time just trying to say the episode opening that I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this other word. But it is it means a total work of art. Gesamtkunstwerk.
Gesamtkunstwerk.
I get that wrong.
Hey, at least it's not one of those mile-long German words.
Yeah, this one doesn't look that difficult. Actually, saying episode 57 was a lot more difficult.
Folge 57.
Actually, easier and longer.
How many times did you rehearse that prior to recording?
Oh, a dozen.
Folge 57.
Yeah, easily a dozen.
I believe it.
And I had it pulled up on my phone so I could say it, and I got it, I think. Let's see here. What kind of research did I do on these guys? I listened to an audiobook about Kraftwerk called Kraftwerk, Future Music from Germany by Uwe Schutte. And it's pretty good. It didn't really talk about the ins and outs of the band and their life and times. It really just talked about their philosophy and their music and how they consider their music to be their work and their workers. That was a pretty good
interesting concept. Yeah, I would say the vast majority of musicians, when you ask them, they don't have that same philosophy where it's like, they're doing it for the love of music, all this other stuff, or even the lesser known people, it's a hobby or it's a passion or whatever. And these guys are like, no, this is our work. We do this because it's almost like it's their duty. Is that fair?
Yeah, like you can imagine like scientists in a lab, that's kind of the way I imagine them.
Well, a studio is kind of a laboratory of sorts, because it's where you test things. It's where you try things. It's where you experiment. It's where you and then eventually when you perfect your experiment, it's what you put together and present to the world. So yeah, I like that. I like that analogy.
Well put. Yeah, you put that very well. I agree with that. That's where you go. And the thing about their studio, Kling Klang, is that it was very secretive early on. And whenever they were in the studio, they would be in there for they would. I imagine them like clocking in and punching a card and then going in and doing their work, and and then punching out on like a time card or something. But no, they would go in there and they would.
Please continue.
I was just going to say, like they had a phone in the studio, but they would never answer it. They would just use it for outgoing calls occasionally. But if you were to call it, they would not answer because they're not going to be disturbed whenever they're doing their work. And so it was supposed to be. I was just going to say it was supposed to be, kind of secretive about where it was, and so that people wouldn't show up whenever they started to get a little bit more popular. They wanted it to remain a secret, and they themselves prefer to keep a certain air of mystery about them. And so because of that, if you ever look for Kraftwerk interviews, a lot of times you will just have a mannequin of one or two of the members, like a plastic mannequin, and sometimes they're robotic, and they can move sometimes, but they themselves personally as humans are rarely ever seen except on stage, from what I understand. Now that may have changed, but that was part of their thing for a while, and they still have sections, I think, of their show where they'll have robots on stage manning the keyboards and standing behind the laptops and that sort of thing.
That is interesting. And I was going to say about like even prior to and up to this particular album, and then for some years after that, the Cold War is still happening, and Germany is still split into East Germany and West Germany. So there's still a lot of political strife within Germany. Dusseldorf was in Western. If I remember right, if I remember my geography right, were they still recording in Dusseldorf at the time? Maybe, you think?
It moved. They moved studios at one point, but I think during that time, I think it was in Dusseldorf.
So that that's still firmly in like Western Germany, Northwestern Germany, if I remember my geography correctly. But yeah, like, the Berlin Wall didn't come down until what, 89 or 90, something like that. But so there would still have been a lot of animosity, politically speaking, within Germany at the time. So I wonder if
Oh
part of
yeah, I
that.
didn't even consider any of that really.
I kind of wonder if some of that secrecy was, a part of that, or maybe not at all. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that's a good thought. Yeah, it could be.
I just, my mind went to that because I'm a history dork. But anyway, moving on.
No, it's a good thought. I hadn't thought about that. Now, UK. Now you recognized on the hook the main song or the main hook.
Yes.
Did you manage to pull where you might have heard that from?
Some song quite later that I'm sure is very well known, but I know the melody, and I'm quite sure I did not know it originally from Computer Love.
Okay, yeah, you probably did not. I don't know. It's a famous. It was kind of made kind of remade to be somewhat famous because it was covered by Coldplay on.
Oh, that's probably it. That's yes.
In 2005, the single "Talk" from their album X and Y. There goes a clip for sure.
Yep.
So here's a funny little story about that. Now, when I first heard that and I made the connection that riff, because that riff sounded familiar, but I didn't know where I'd heard it from. And then I think later on I got into Kraftwerk a little bit, and this song grabbed me. And then I finally made the connection. I was like, oh, Coldplay ripped this off from Kraftwerk. And
you ripped them off. Nice.
But they did not, because they asked for permission.
Well, of course. They'd have been.
Now, here's the funny story about asking permission from Kraftwerk is that they sent, I guess, some correspondence, some mail or something to Kraftwerk asking for permission. And Coldplay didn't hear anything back for a while. But finally, he opened his mailbox, I believe, and opened up a letter, and it was from Kraftwerk, and there was a piece of paper, and it just said yes. That was
it. Nice. Oh, that's great.
Nothing else. Just yes.
Yes. Love Kraftwerk.
Yes.
Sincerely.
Yeah. No, not even that. Just yes. Kraftwerk.
That's great.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, we are not artists nor musicians. We are workers. Now, let's see here. There was this album. Now, there's been a bunch of different lineups. The main dudes are Rolf Hutter and Florian Schneider. For a long time, they had this guy named Karl Bartos, and he was with them from 75 to 90. So he was with them for a really long time, and he's written like 3 books. One of them, I believe, is completely in German. It at least has a German title. And then there's this other one in 2022 called The Sound of the Machine, My Life in Kraftwerk and Beyond. And I did not listen to that one because it's like 20 hours long.
Oh, my, 20 hours?
Yeah, it's 20 hours long. That's a really long one.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So instead I listened to that other one, which was only like 6 hours, and it was pretty good.
That's not bad.
What else? Oh yeah. Have you ever heard of the? Yeah.
I was going to ask like a kind of a lineup related question. So you said there've been people kind of cycle in and out. Do they, like, when they perform in more recent times? Is there still kind of that air of mystery about them? Like you're not necessarily seeing. You said the guys are just up there with laptops. Are they kind of incognito, or are they just kind of, these guys just kind of walk out in plain clothes and they're recognizable and they just start jamming, or like
they're all going to be dressed in a similar way, and they're in the same way. They all basically have a uniform on. They've got matching pants, matching red shirts usually, and pretty nondescript, but they are all matching.
Okay. All right.
And you'll see. I'll show you some.
Like each person doesn't necessarily have like a style. They all just kind of match each other, and so
they all match. Yes.
So like the audience is not drawn to any one person, any one member of the group in particular. It's just these guys come out, do their thing, and
well, I'm sure the fans know Rolf Hutter.
Oh, I'm sure. But
yeah, they probably know who they are. But they are all dressed the same.
It's not like, the lead singer's out there in front,
no,
jamming away with the band kind of behind them in obscurity or anything like that. It's just these four guys come out and do their thing, and that's kind of
yeah. I'm going to show you. Here's what I'll do. I'm just going to pull up a quick little Kraftwerk live. Now here's one from I'm going to show you one from 1978. We'll just kind of take a look, and they do have instruments. Let me share the screen real quick.
Okay, yeah. That's your like mannequins you were talking about, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, on this one they've got their names at the bottom, but yeah, they're all really wearing, the same shirt and pants and same hairstyle.
That's a jam.
So this song is The Robots, which is a great song.
Yeah, it's kind of a jam.
So you get an idea. You can see what they're doing.
Very cool. Okay, yeah, so I got kind of a good idea of what to expect from a live performance. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I thought so too. It's unique. It's different. It's funny.
It kind of fits their whole workers label. Like they just kind of come out and, hey, we're here to do our thing. It's our jobs to entertain you, and here we are. And then end of the night we go home.
Yeah, I don't think that they spend a lot of time with audience banter and whatnot. And I think they just come out there and do their thing.
They're part of the charm.
Yeah, and part of the member. Okay, part of being in Kraftwerk is you have people that sing, you have some that do percussion and keyboards, but there's also the live audio-visual aspect and all the they've got giant screens and there's all kind of stuff going on, and there's lots of they have their own thing that they've made, all their whatever screens and audio equipment, however they do it, they've got it down where they bring it with them, and they've just kind of got it down. And so they've got you'd have an audio visual guy doing the screens and all the visuals and everything. That's one of the members of the band, controlling all that from the stage. Cool, huh?
Okay, cool. Let's continue.
Well, actually, I'm about done.
Okay, all right.
I mean, there's really a lot more that could be said about Kraftwerk, and their reach and their influence is immeasurable.
Of course,
they've been sampled millions, hundreds of times. A lot of it by hip hop artists. Like there's just lots of it. Yeah, there's
hip hop artists take samples from so many different unexpected sources, I guess. And you always expect them to pull from 70s funk and R&B, but they pull. I mean, they've sampled Led Zeppelin. There's been Kraftwerk. Just all kinds of non-traditional sources for their samples, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna get into them because there's so many, and none of them are really especially grabby to me.
I got you.
On Discord and Rhyme, they played I'm seriously they played like 10 of them, and I skipped them. I mean, it was funny. It was funny for a little bit, but they kept going, and
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I was like,
Well, let me
okay,
ask you
yes.
this. So Computer Love is what you shared. Is this your favorite Kraftwerk song?
No. It's my second
well,
favorite Kraftwerk song. My favorite Kraftwerk song is Pocket Calculator. And
you've shared Pocket Calculator before, and I'd heard that before too. So, well, then let me ask you this: why did you share Computer Love versus Pocket Calculator?
I think Computer Love is a little more well known. I love it. Yeah. I love it a lot. Pocket Calculator is a different vibe. Pocket Calculator really just makes me laugh a lot. It's very funny, and I almost did Pocket Calculator as the song. I kind of went back and forth. It's funny, like whenever they do Pocket Calculator live, I think at one point had some little pocket calculators on stage that they were making musical noises with. And in fact, there was a. Go ahead.
You're going to have to drop a clip of Pocket Calculator here.
Yeah, I'm the operator of my pocket calculator. Beep boop.
No way.
That's exactly how it goes.
Now, and also, I can't leave this episode without pointing out the fact that you've got some of your own little synthesizer pocket calculator type beat makers, don't you? You got like a Volca Beats, and you got this other little pocket drum machine that you've messed around with.
Yeah, I've got the Korg Volca Beats. It's not quite pocket size, but it's like maybe half the size of an iPad or so. It's a little guy, and then there's like another like Korg space synth thing, and that is pocket size. That I keep that in my laptop bag. That's a lot of fun too. And then I've got a Teenage Engineering OP2 or 3. It's a bass synth kind of thing, tiny little thing. Those are just endlessly fun to play with.
Well, you've also got an analog synthesizer too that you've kind of recently acquired, right?
Yeah, my Korg, I think it's an MS-20. I bought it. I was really excited about it, and I just have not spent enough time with it.
It's kind of overwhelming. It would be
a little bit. It's kind of hard to know where to start.
I get that.
I need to watch some more. You just need to get down to the nitty gritty. Play with that thing because it's sitting there doing nothing, and that's not what they were designed to do. So,
of course not.
They were designed to be played with and used, and so I'm going to do that.
Do it. This is your homework, Larry.
Is this your homework, Larry?
Pocket Calculator is my favorite Kraftwerk song. It's great. It makes me happy. Lots of funny little bleeps and bloops, and it's delightful. Another great song is The Robots. When we heard a little bit of that earlier. We are the robots. Boom, 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 boom. That's a great one.
Very cool, man. Well, thank you for sharing the song, man. Like I said, I'd heard that melody, and once you said Coldplay, I was like, yeah, that's it. And that I don't care for that Coldplay song, but I do really like Computer Love by Kraftwerk, and I also like how we have to stop and concentrate on how we say Kraftwerk, because
you have to pause a little bit. You can't just go. Yeah,
it doesn't roll off of an East Texan's tongue quite the same way as it does a German's tongue. So
it's beautiful, though. I always just when I was happy to hear the correct German pronunciation in that audiobook. So Kraftwerk, I think. Very nice. We love it. Man, I don't think I've got much else. I thought this one could have gone long. It's about average. It's a little under average maybe. So I think it's a good time to wrap it up. How about you?
Sure.
Okay, let me look at my notes one last
I don't
time.
have any other thoughts about.
I'm done.
I don't have any other thoughts about Kraftwerk except that I just love like the, this album in particular you wouldn't necessarily call like the, part of the genesis of electronic music today, but I can't help but think of the wide ranging influence, like you mentioned earlier, that they would have had on what is now electronic music, and just all the ways that you can create electronic music. Because I mean, now I can sit here on my handheld phone and throw out some just ridiculous beat driven stuff, almost almost just without even thinking about it, on something like GarageBand or Apple Loops or whatever, and it's there, and it's, whereas these guys back then would have had to really kind of work to put, and they said themselves they're workers, they would have had to work to get to arrive at what I can, do in a phone now,
Yeah, well said. They really had to work for it.
Wild. It's pretty wild. But, again, a lot of times, limited resources breeds creativity, and between making your own instruments and synthesizers and electronic beat maker things that they put together, it's like, they knew they had music, and that was those were the tools that they used to put that out there. So I think that's really neat.
I agree, and they never got rid of any of their instruments. They said old, anything that got old and they like maybe stopped using, but they never got rid of it. They kept everything.
Very cool.
Was my understanding. Well, I think that's going to do it on this particular episode. Man, that was a lot of fun talking about Kraftwerk, and danke, Michael, for joining me.
Bitte, and danke for sharing that song, and yeah, that's
Ja, Mikey.
Jawohl. Yeah, very cool.
Merci.
Oh, jeez.
Merci, monsieur. And with that, it's time to say adios.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining me. Let's go make another one. What do you say?
I believe that's the correct thing to do.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for joining us, and we will just catch you on the next one. Bye, Mikey.
All right. Bye-bye, Clay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The music is sort of a techno pop.
Hey, we really appreciate you listening to the show. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, go ahead and check out the rest of our episodes and share them with your friends. Be sure to follow us and find us on Instagram at I Got a Song Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at I Got a Song Pod. And we would love to hear your voice, so leave us a Google voicemail at 323-903-SONG. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Sul.